job. All right, fat people bragging. Dear Billy Zigzag, I don't care who gets the vaccine before me because I'm not an at-risk person. I do, however, think it's fucking crazy that fat people are bragging about getting the vaccine first on social media. I keep seeing threads of pictures of fat people throwing up peace signs like they won something. These high-risk people were the excuse to shut down businesses for a year, and they're the first ones to be able to go back and eat at a restaurant. And dude, you should be a comedian. This is a killer bit. And somehow someone will think I'm a dick for complaining. How about a tad bit of shame for not taking care of yourself? Yeah, and slowing down the herd. I agree. I agree. You should turn that into your first stand-up bit. Or just for the fuck of it, sign up for an open mic and just do that and get it off your chest. And even if you bomb, there'll be one person laughing, and then I'm telling you, it'll make your day. All right, cruising for a bruising. Dear Billy the Orange Creamsicle. I know you're trying to trash me, but I kind of like that one. They call him the Creamsicle Kid. I am a 22-year-old university graduate from Toronto, Canada, working on the weekend like usual. And I am currently working a job landscaping to make money until I start firefighter school this summer. Anyway, I have recently picked up a bad habit of boozing very consistently since the start of the pandemic. Yeah, a lot of people, I think, are drinking heavily. I'm bored, and what can I say? I like my beer. I am drinking anywhere between 4 and 8 beers every other night, and sometimes more often than not. I think every other night is more often than not. Well, no, that's 50-50, right? No, I suck at math. I drink every night. Oh, and sometimes more often than not, I drink every night. I know you've been sober for a number of years now. Sort of. I was California sober, as Josh Adam Myers says. And basically, weed then kind of took over, and I was having an edible like 4 or 5 times a fucking, a week. And then I was just like, I have a problem against, and I had to walk away from that. So I've really just been sober since February 28th. So he says, I am thinking I should follow in your footsteps or at least drop down the number of days a week I'm drinking. I don't know about you, but I use booze to calm my anxiety and spice up my days so I don't spiral into a fit of depression. Hey, welcome to the club. He goes, however, as we all know, too much booze can lead to bad decisions that make you feel like a piece of shit the next morning. And I absolutely hate that feeling. I have talked to a therapist before, and it didn't do a whole lot for me. Anyway, I am just looking for some tips on how you got the booze out of your life because I don't want my future to go down the wrong path. Thanks a lot. I love the podcast. All the best to you, the lovely Nia, and you wonderful kids. Cheers and go fuck yourself. All right, well, everybody's different. For me, I just was done with booze. And I had kids, and I had only a daughter at that point. I just didn't feel good about being getting drunk downstairs while she was sleeping upstairs. And then whenever I would have like an edible, if I was high, I would just be like, and I'd be like, she's sleeping, nothing's going to happen. I can do this, and it's just stupid. If something does happen, what the fuck? We have earthquakes out here. God knows what could happen. I'd be high as shit. It was stupid. So, the big thing that made me do it was this underlying depression and sadness from all the shit that made me want to be, drove me into being a comedian. And I think at some point you kind of have to work that out. Maybe you had the wrong therapist. Maybe you weren't ready for therapy, but it's always good to talk to somebody about it. Talk to a therapist. I said, I tried therapy. It hasn't worked, for me. But, I'm drinking too much, and I think I'm drinking because to stay away from these depressive thoughts, and that's not the right reason to drink. So I would just suggest being really open to either friends and family about it and try to get a new therapist if you can. And just put it out there and tell people that you're drinking too much and you don't want to drink and you're drinking for the wrong reasons and you want to stop. And if you ask for help, you'll be surprised. People will really help you out. And, I'll tell you, the great thing about not boozing is the next morning. You feel great. You don't have to apologize to anybody. And, everything you said was what you meant, was what you wanted to say at least. All right, here we go. Last one here. I am a jealous girlfriend. All right. Hey, Bill, I'm a 25-year-old woman with some abandonment/daddy issues. I know this is who I am, but not necessarily the person I want to be. So, of course, I'm in therapy to work this stuff out. Well, I got to commend you for knowing all that about yourself at the young age of 25. You're way ahead of the game. Unfortunately, my boyfriend is still sometimes subjected to my jealous nature. For example, the other day he invited me to come visit him at work, and when I showed up, I met his new coworker who is very pretty. I should mention that I myself am beautiful, but even if I wasn't, I know my boyfriend loves me to the end of the earth and doesn't want to be with anybody else. That being said, I could still feel my Italian blood boil when I met this girl. I spent the rest of the day begging myself not to let my emotions get the best of me and say something to my boyfriend. My self-control lasted until the next morning. That's pretty good. When I finally brought it up, a short little spat ensued, but about 15 minutes later, we were both hugging and apologizing. Well, this seems, don't beat yourself up after this. You know what your problem is, and you're working your way through it. You were able to control it to the next morning, and even when it finally leaked out, 15 minutes later, you were apologizing. He apologized, I don't know why he apologized. You fucking started it, but, that's how it works usually. That's how the math is done. That's great, though. So anyways, he said, I told him that I understood he has no control over how attractive his coworkers are. I also know that it's normal to flirt a little bit outside of a relationship. I myself innocently flirt with others from time to time, so I'm being super hypocritical by getting all butthurt at the thought of him doing it. I also acknowledge that every time I get jealous like this, it probably makes him feel more and more suffocated, which will probably hurt our relationship in the long term. He handled this interaction like a champ, forgave me for getting jealous, said it was no big deal, and made a joke about me being on my period. You guys sound like you got a cool relationship to me. I know he's being genuine when he says it's okay, but I can't help but put myself in his shoes. That's something that's really difficult for people to do. That's called empathy. It's a tough thing for most human beings to do, putting themselves in somebody else's shoes. If I had a partner who acted the way I did, I would probably lose a little respect for them with every incident, and no, I would start feeling resentful and suffocated. My question is, do you have any advice about damage control? Is there anything I can do to get a little self-respect back and relieve any guilt he might have about being attracted to other people? Furthermore, do you have any advice on how I can calm the fuck down whenever I start overthinking and getting jealous? Thanks for your insightful comedy. P.S. Go Leafs. Oh, another person from Toronto, working on the weekend like usual. I think a lot of this is in your own head. I think if you had a little hissy fit and then 15 minutes you apologized and you're owning up to your behavior, I think that he knows that this is something that you're working on. So as long as you own up to it, I don't think he loses respect for you. I mean, I'm sitting there thinking, like, all the stuff I was reading about you, I was thinking this woman's a keeper. Nobody's perfect, and you actually are looking at yourself, you're examining yourself, you're in therapy, you fuck up, you apologize, you feel bad, you put yourself in the other person's shoes. You can't ask any more of that from a person. So just keep working on yourself, and I would actually not be so hard on yourself unless you don't apologize, which you did. And if it's over 15 minutes later, then, I don't know. If my wife flipped out and then 15 minutes later apologizes to me, it's fucking over. It's squashed. It's like when you fight and then you're silent for the whole fucking day and then you get a half-ass apology and then they do it 10 minutes later again. That's when resentment comes in. So I think you're in the clear here. You're fine. Keep working on yourself. You're way ahead of the game. You're only 25 years old. You're a kid. So you're going to be fine. That's what I say. All right? Okay. All right, everybody. That's the podcast. I don't know what to tell you. I'm just looking around my fucking nice, clean office, and I'm loving life right now. I hope you guys are enjoying your life. All right? Owning up to what the fuck you're doing. Having empathy for other people. Not working for banks or oil companies. Helping out people less fortunate. Let's try to be better people, man. All right, go fuck yourselves. I'll talk to you. I'll check in on you on Thursday.